Hello guys, this is chapter 3. This is the last segment of the theory and I'll get straight into it. So what we're going to be dealing with now is a thing called loops. Loops is when you want a sequence of instructions to continually repeat themselves until a certain condition is reached. When an action must be repeated, we use loops. C++ includes several ways to create loops. We start with a while loop. A while loop is a loop that loops while a certain condition is true, and it stops executing when a certain condition is false. So this is an example of how it would look. This is the syntax: while the condition, and then you state the condition in brackets, in the curly brackets, and then after that the condition would be true then, and it would execute that. But then once the condition is false, then it would stop. So here's one example of integer. I has got the value of 0, and while that integer is less than 5, you continue on counting until it gets to 5, because you see there's an I and an increment operator of 2 plus signs here. So this increment operator adds to the I. So the I having a value of 1 of 0 will add plus 1 to this. So the loop will only loop 5 times, and when it reaches to the 6th time, it will stop because the condition would be false. And then just to elaborate more on the while loop has to be evaluated before it executes the statement. So the condition has to be examined by the compiler, which is a computer, and then the program skips to the line in the case where the condition proves to be false. I mentioned this before. The body of the loop is executed if the statement is true. The condition being executed may change depending on the outcome of the Boolean expression. The expression is checked several times until it is false. So here, if the condition changes, like you saw that integer I, it changes its value from 0 to 1 depending on the outcome of the Boolean expression. All the way to 5. When it gets to 6, it realizes that the Boolean expression is false, and then it stops. A while loop might not execute at all if the expression is false from the beginning. So if the first condition is, let's say, the integer value was 6, and then it says integer I is less than 5, then it wouldn't go, because that's false. 6 is greater than 5, it's not less than. So then we go to another loop, which is called a do while. It's not a while, it's a do while. So you execute this while this condition is true or false. This one, however, it will execute the full code once at least. The body of a loop is first executed. The Boolean expression is checked after the body has been executed once. So it will go through everything, print out everything before it executes. And an example is here. Let's just go over that. And then it will say do this, so the computer will do something, and then it will check the statement, and then it will repeat either statement or make it false. So integer x is equal to 0. Excuse me. Do this, print out x. So it will still print out 0. It won't just continue on to the next line and say while x and then print out 1 as its first print out. It will print out the 0 first, and then it will increase that 0 with 1. So you will see the first value being a 0 or 1 in this case, because this, if you notice, the curly brackets are within this printout statement, and then another while condition is met while x is less than 5. So it will continue doing this whole thing until it gets to the thing. But however, if you notice that it will print out the first number. Increment and decrement operators An operand is a term used to describe any object that is capable of being manipulated or changed. So it will be on the right hand side of the unary operator. What is the unary operator require only one operand. So in this case we are using the number 6. 6 can be changed. It can be a 7, it can be an 8, it can be anything. So it is an operand. But then you see how it only wants one value here. And then in front of a number such as a 6, but on a negated as a negative, it will be like this. So I explained that when you see two plus signs, that's an increment operator, which adds 1, which increases by 1. So when you see two plus signs, it's equivalent to having x equals x plus 1. You just write x and then two addition signs. It will increase the value by 1. Same as a decrement operator, which will subtract the number once. And then we go to infinite loops, where you want it to continually just go on forever. But you should have a place where you put a condition that eventually proves to be false. You see, so like here, this one would go for a long time, 20 times, but then at the end you want it to reach the last number and then stop. And then a compound statement is where a statement has a lot of statements. A code has a lot of different statements inside of it that are compounded. It's also called a block of code. And that will be seen later when we're actually coding, so you can have a look and feel of how the code actually looks. Compound statement used with if-else statement. If the score is greater than 50, the person has passed, and it will write congratulations. You see, this is a compound statement. And then else, if the condition is false, which is it's not greater, the person will receive a printout of failed and book another exam. So that's just all to do with dealing with looping. If you want to have loops within your statement, these are the things you would use. Do while, a while loop, an if statement, those are the things that you can use to loop your data so that it can continue on printing out, so that you don't need to write the code every single time. You see, you can have a statement that loops it. And when doing this, always ensure that your code is easy to rectify, easy to understand, and easy to edit. Indentation is basically spacing within a code. It's used to skip lines between logic groups of statements, and it indents statements. So you use 4 spaces, and then curly brackets are another form of doing indentation. The shortcut to that is Control K or Control F. Indent with brackets to make the group. Like if you see, like let's say, it's just like mathematics. If there's a complex situation you're handling and you want to deal with the multiplication first, you put it in brackets. It's the same thing. Curly brackets placed on separate lines are easier to locate. So instead of having one compound statement that's on one sentence, you put them on different sentences so that they are easy to read. That's indentation. So when I mentioned it when we are going into the practicals, just remember that's when I say indent, that's what I mean. And then when I want to make comments in a code, I will use 2 forward slashes, 2 backslashes, so that you know that, okay, cool, this is a comment, it's not part of the code. And if it's a single line, I will use the 2 backslashes. But if it's a multiple line kind of comment, you'll see it in the code, in different codes that you'll study. If you see this, then you know that this thing is not part of the code. It's actually sometimes written in pure English, and it will be highlighted in green to just show that this is a code. This is a comment, not a code. And then constants is a key. Const is a keyword to declare constant. a term called mnemonic, that's how I pronounce it. A pattern of letters or numbers, ideas or associates which assist in remembering something. E.g. pi, pi, when you see pi in maths, you know the value of that pi. Or, yeah, so that's what it means. And then constants allow us to name numbers so that they have a meaning. So just like the word pi is a name for numbers, allow us to change all occurrence simply by changing the value of the constant. So let's say we are doing calculating radius or something, we are able to determine circle and everything based on the value that we know is assigned to pi, and it is best to use them with capital letters. That's just the syntax way, and the syntax you use when differentiating it from other values or variables. So here, a bit of homework. Determine if a program can modify the value of a constant. Create a named constant of type double. Describe the benefits of comments. This screen you can just screenshot so you can do it. I'm just going to go over it because I really just want to get to the practicals so that we can start coding, show you what to install on your computer so that we can just get straight to it and you can print your first software. Explain why blank lines are important in a program. Thank you for tuning in. The next lesson you will be seeing is a lesson where I will be dealing with practicals. I'm going to be showing you how to install the program that you will use to create programming programs and apps and all of that, and how to do that and all the cool stuff. So tune in for this would be episode 4, right? Or 5, yeah, but chapter 4. Thank you.